Hello and welcome to Gatsby Fridays, a show about getting the best out of a creative life from two creative directors working around the world and based in New York City. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different and we're going to walk through the neighborhood of Chelsea in 3 acts. The first will be the Whitney Museum, where we'll be viewing the art there, as well as a photo exhibition by the Camoigi Workshop and Viva Americana, Mexican muralist art. Then we'll take you to a couple of the galleries out in Chelsea, then we'll walk the High Line. And at the end of each episode, we'll toast cheers to you. We'll be toasting on location at Pastis. This is Gatsby Fridays. It's a group of Black photographers, which is nice to see an exhibit. And it's a lot of protest art and Pan-Africanism.
From the 60s and
From
70s.
the 60s and 70s, yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's look at it. If I showed you pictures of like my family, this is like what my distant relative like pictures like this I see a lot of.
Yeah.
Pictures like this I saw a lot of which is wonderful to see these. So it's weird to see them in this type of a setting because I'm so used to seeing them like in a photo album that's all grayed out.
Oh, yeah.
And on my mother's sofa. This jacket is so fire. And once again, I love exhibit design. Like, I love the way this is laid out. It's
I
so
miss old school, like college, like, you know, the first thing that I might do once I get a break in life, because, you know, we don't have enough passion projects, get back in the black and white photography. Like, buy film and send it to get it, I mean, I don't know.
If you want, I do have film. Like, I have a lot of black and white film.
I mean, I would have to
have
buy a
120,
camera again. I got rid of the film camera years ago.
Buy a cheap film camera. And it doesn't even need to be
Well, it's where am I going to
SLR.
carry? Where am I going to
Well,
carry
that's the
it
point.
along
It
with the dog? And
it doesn't need to be SLR. You could get a nice Yoshika T4.
But yes.
So not only does the exhibit highlight protest art, it actually highlights just life that has been going on in New York City.
Like the Bronx, Harlem,
Yes,
like
this is very
black
familiar.
neighborhoods.
Very familiar to me. And I love seeing photographs of old black people. Like I love this. Like you could tell so much history. Oh, this is so good. Oh my God, this is so like this. You know, 7th Avenue.
Like frame within frame, like it's such like
that's nice.
right?
That's nice. Whoever did that was smart.
Wilford Smith, garment worker, New York City, Lower East Side.
Oh, this is Lower East Side.
Well, no, that one's garment. Oh, that's garment district. This is Lower East Side. Like
Have
this
you kept
type.
a lot of your black and white photography?
Photos I have.
Photos.
Negatives I have. I just, you know. There's one of my grandfather I still need to get scanned and printed. Yeah. Do a
You know
little.
what's interesting? It's like, I know that you look, like, one may look at these pictures and see depression and see poverty and see strife. But I have to say, like, I grew up similar to this. And as weird as this is going to sound, there is joy
Of course there
in
is.
this, in even in every aspect of one's existence. And I could even find the joy and see myself in that and see the joy in this,
Yeah, absolutely.
despite the environment.
Yeah.
Just like when I see pictures of war-torn countries and I see children still playing soccer.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, children still play soccer. Like,
They're still kids.
they're still kids.
Look at the typography, the hand-printed type. I mean, Lower East Side, look at it. There's nothing. Like all land.
Jeez.
That's crazy to me. 1960. I'm just trying to like put a picture because I wasn't even born in this continent.
Well,
so like,
here's the
but
thing,
like
this,
reflecting back.
This is towards the tail end of like me being born. All this looking like this.
Yeah.
Because by the time I was born, and by the time like New York started, I mean New York was horrible in the '80s, but this is like
They started building,
This
yeah.
is the '70s. Like this is the early '70s.
Well,
60s.
this is 1960. Yeah. So like you can see a few buildings standing, but they're also worn down. There's rubble on the side.
These are
Like
probably torn down by now.
yeah. Oh, please, yes. classic New York view.
That could almost be now.
Yeah, well, yes, it can. You know, because slots get cleared out.
This could be. Well, what is this? The Lower East Side. This could be the Lower East Side now.
Where is this? This is, yeah, it says Lower East Side.
Maybe not as desolate.
Oh, no, it is right now. There's no more hustle bustle downtown. It's COVID, baby. Like, there's nobody on the streets.
I love this one.
That is very cute. Yeah.
This is wonderful.
I know. This is why I love the Whitney. Alex, we're in a museum.
I can't believe it.
Look, this is a reflection on the glass door, and he's in the middle there. He's in the photo, but you don't see the camera because it's like he placed it so perfectly in the seam.
He's right. It's there.
No, he's the photographer in the middle.
He is the photographer in the
see
middle.
Hands?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Oh, that's
man,
wonderful.
Like, I think maybe with the digital, we get the likelihood of actually getting a shot in, but then, you know, the frames are not precious, so we just keep taking, and then we have all this like abundance of digital crap on the phone that takes up so much space, and I never even know, and I'm overwhelmed, and I look at the, you know, thousands of pictures on my phone, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know what's in there.
When was the last time?
When it's film, you only have 36 shots at this. You wait and you line things up and you do it consciously, like, and everything's calculated, and that's why maybe these black and white photography like pieces are a lot more to the point, and it catches a moment because he's been waiting there to catch that moment, and it's that one right shot. I think we lost that.
I think you make a good call with the whole notion.
Like, look at the framing and
it's
stuff.
Beautiful. And here's the thing that I want to ask you, like, when was the last time you pulled something out to frame?
Oh, please. I just always, like, I want extra so I can crop it whatever I want, because I look at it from a design layout perspective. I don't want to have to extend the wall, fake wall, if there is no background.
Like actual framing, like in the real world, like getting something, printing putting it actually together, like framing a piece of art or a photograph. Because you're talking about
honestly,
the editing.
That's so expensive. Last thing I framed was my Hatcho print poster, because
that was a while ago then.
And it's huge, and I didn't want to pay too much because it would have cost thousands of dollars. So framing is an expensive endeavor.
Absolutely.
That's why you do it yourself in college.
You do it yourself. I feel like I framed a poster just a couple of days ago, but I felt like prior to that I haven't framed anything in such a long time. This is beautiful.
I remember I had to learn how to cut the beveled edges. There's a special tool for that.
Knife for the mat.
Beautiful.
So wonderful.
I miss photography. That like blurry image in the middle.
This is cool. Oh, look at this.
Ooh, and then they made an accordion book with it.
See, exhibition design. This is gorgeous.
I miss physical spaces. But like, not every physical space needs to be this digitally immersive and thing. Like, sometimes the simplicity of this type of gallery exhibition is, I miss that part. Alright, so I used to think that if I had the means and the space, the first thing I would do is buy a printing press, because I miss printmaking so much. But that is like, you know, you need solvents, you need inks and stuff, like and you need, yes. And then now I'm looking at these and I'm like, well, can we also add a dark room into that? like, can we just build our own studio and live in it?
Oh my god, that's Grace Jones. Oh, that is gorgeous.
Her face looks so soft, like not.
No, it's not angular.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Now I can see it.
I mean, yes, you can, but like, it's so close up, and she's so young, and not a ton of makeup. Filled the frame with her features, communicating her larger-than-life presence.
Of course.
This tight framing, along with the precise lighting, turns Jones's image into an abstraction of sorts. Yeah, that's why we didn't recognize her. Do you think we have come to a place in our careers that we have explored the new media enough to come back and get nostalgic, or is it just because we're getting old and nostalgic?
I feel.
You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, but like I said earlier, like this feels new again for some reason. But I think people will discover this again and think,
Do you think this is like
I don't know
this is like going back to Polaroids?
Under millennials, but I wonder what they're thinking.
I mean, when Polaroid went out of business, people went up in arms and then started these indie projects and funding to like have Polaroid film produced and stuff like that. So like people like holding on to these tactile forms of expression. I remember I used to get films developed when I first moved to the city in 2002. I still had my camera, but then that was really expensive because in college you just go to the darkroom and do it yourself.
It would be a good question to ask a current film student. Like, are they in the darkroom, or is that even something people even do? Like, I feel like there's always, you know, how we are always going back to process and always talking about those building blocks.
Yeah.
No matter what, I think a building block for photography is always the composition and the actual tactileness of developing.
This is so beautiful.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Shelly. Look at this kid on her arms. I do appreciate that the Whitney also does more recent works.
Yeah.
And appreciated that as much.
I'm thinking this is a good pose for one of us at the office. That's why I'm referencing it. Because you already have this set up.
With the steps.
Yeah.
All right. Inspiration.
Inspiration. That's the point. That's the goal. That's the goal. Ready for the next floor?
Yep.
Do you think it was the time in which he lived in, or the largeness of his art presence that made him attracted
Diego?
to Diego Rivera, to Frida Kahlo?
I mean, I think
he was.
No, but
Oh my
she
God,
was
this is-
also physically challenged. So, but I think the times
Physically
were
disabled.
different. Yes, physically disabled. It's the times,
Are you losing it right now? Are you losing it?
Like we're just looking at this video of what year? Like very old, like promotional video of Mexican cooking.
Yes.
Like black and white, ancient. Where is that? Hold on. There's a 1932.
Oh.
Que viva Mexico. It's. I don't know. I think it wasn't the physicality of it. I think it's who he is personality-wise. Because to make a name at that time, he wasn't just a painter. He was also a businessman. He was also a thinker. Like you had to be everything. Well, you still have to be everything, but like I feel like I don't know. The competition was different then. I mean, every generation has its own challenges, but with them, they were fighting socialism and people coming in invading Mexico, trying to fight their own independence. So they thought that communism was the savior. It was the times, right?
He had intent and spirit.
Yes. So like he didn't. I mean, but also he was smart and he was charismatic, and I think charisma, especially with men, go a long way. No, I mean I'm just looking at the paintings and they're so beautiful. I think the part that I like about I mean, I was the girl that never wanted the girls' version of the tennis racket. If it came in pink, I didn't want it. I always played with the boys. I was climbing trees with the boys, racing bikes with the boys. So, like, didn't understand the challenges of being a girl. Like, I didn't realize we weren't equal. Like, any of that when you were little, right? So when I come back and look at the careers of these female artists, like... I just mentioned O'Keeffe and same with Frida Kahlo. It's less about the pop culture aspect of it for me. It's more about how, as women, they paved the way for their own careers. No one showed them the way. There was no one like them before in front of them to look up to. Sometimes, like women, me, my colleagues, my friends, we kind of feel there's this like feel of loss of where to go. And wondering if we're making mistakes. And I don't think it's about that. I think we live differently. They live differently.
They live differently.
So do we. living in New
And
York.
arguably, you have a lot more resources than they did.
Pretty much.
Why do you feel, or why does your generation feel so
Oh, and it's called impulsive syndrome. You always question yourself.
lost in a way? Yes.
Like, I faked my way up here. Like, oh, how did I?
No, you didn't.
No, today I don't believe that.
Yes,
but
you didn't.
but it's a real thing.
It's real. No, I get it.
So like, I don't know, just looking at these women already done it. Like, I think the inspiration is in what they did. It's that they did it for themselves and they didn't wait for someone to show them the way.
Also, these are insanely famous women that we know.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
There must have been so many.
Yeah.
So many more. That we'll never hear their stories.
Yeah.
But that's the same throughout history, right?
The thing that was interesting in Diego's work is that I didn't understand it when I was much younger. I understand it better now. Is that he really did want to portray the Mexican people, and the communism was. They got swept up in because that was the hot idea that it hadn't played out yet. It hadn't played out to be a disaster. But I think they believed in it because it helped people. Like the heart was in the right place in a way.
The spirit was in there.
What they wanted was to help people.
Yes.
And that's why they believed in it. Not because, of course it's,
But
Russia, power, Big Brother. All
communism ultimately didn't land
it
well.
didn't play out well. It was great in theory, but when you see the works of the artists from that time, I don't look at it as they didn't know, like they were the wrong people, like peddling communism. That's what they believed in because it would help people. Ultimately, he used his art to portray his people, which is beautiful. So, we did a whole loop around, starting from the Whitney, walked through streets to Gagosian, which turned out to be closed.
Yes, which was unfortunate, but we made the best of it.
We made the best of it. I think it was in a spin. We picked the Gagosian, and at that time frame, because we thought that we needed to do everything by appointment because of COVID, I really liked to discover that all of a sudden that spontaneous, like walking into random galleries and discovering thing
It's still
out there. It's still so COVID didn't kill it or put it on hold. It was never going to die forever, but the fact that we were able to all of a sudden be spontaneously walking into a bunch of galleries, and because it's a weekday, there's nobody else there, so and they just say 6 people at a time to discover that is alive made me feel really happy. So the silver lining is we didn't get to go into Gagosian,
but we got to go to a couple of other galleries and see varied art.
And then looped around, went up on the High Line, walked all the way back down here,
Yes.
And then landed up our classic pasties spot.
I love pasties.
And so appropriately, it could have been a lot of cocktails here, but it has to be a Sancerre if you're at pasties. And not to quote a very cheesy Netflix girl show, but there's a show called Emily in Paris.
That's
and
new.
it's very bippity bob, easy breezy, you're watching. It still talks about real culture differences and all this stuff, like women in workplace. It's not that, but there's a scene where it says Sancerre, of course, we're having it for breakfast. So you have for breakfast Sancerre, duh. So we are sipping our Sancerre for this episode. It is not a cocktail.
No.
But we go with.
Still.
Yes, it's delicious. If you're here, that's what you gotta drink.
Great.
And then we're kind of looking around, reminiscing about this neighborhood, because there's a club called Cielo that we used to go when we were much younger, 15 years ago.
Cielo, New York City.
Cielo's closed, and then you would come out at 4 in the morning, and you would go to Florent across the street for hire.
To get a hamburger. Oh man, it was what a good time.
And then there were matchboxes from Florent that with little icons that Tibor Kalman designed the branding of Florent.
Oh, bringing it back to yes, I love
bringing back the design books, which I do have the Tibor Kalman book, and bringing back to where in New York you literally live in the design of things. And we walked by, we saw this show at the Whitney where it's a Latin American cultural painters and their relevance in the U.S. because Whitney is American art. And then there's all these murals Diego Rivera did, and we walk by across the street from Pestis, this mural depicting literally in this style of it's on Little 12th.
Little West 12th Street.
And across the street from Pestis, and who knows, it's on a scaffolding, so who knows how long it's going to stay up there, but it is in the tradition of the Diego Rivera murals, where it depicts the White House in the center and all these little groups of people representing the current political climate and the protests and the American flag and the Confederate flag and the gas, all of it. And the White House is pristinely white in all of it, to show how this is associated with it, what's happening on the street, all of that, that's street art, but it's also mural. It's Diego Rivera. We just saw it in museum down the street.
It still comes full circle. We saw it. We saw Diego Rivera's paintings at the Whitney. We made a full circle and we landed back here.
Yeah.
And saw. Come on. That is so good.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. You know what's good? When Sunset really eats your breakfast.
It's so Gatsby.
I made the joke about the TV show. I watch it and it's all of that, but I just referencing it there.
What was the name of the TV show?
Emily in Paris. But the joke is that I was running late on our way to our Whitney appointment at noon, and so I had coffee, didn't have time to eat on the way down here, and then because I'm older and blood sugar is a real reality, we just threw a bunch of nuts and kind of powered through it because we had an appointment at the Gagosian and we rushed through that one because we didn't want to rush through shoving food down our throats standing in a street corner and end up in Pestis. So then it's 3 p.m. and this is my first thing, and the first thing that goes into my belly is salsa.
So Gatsby. Thank you for hanging with us. For a list of resources mentioned in this week's episode, hop onto our site, GatsbyFridays.com.
You can find out more about this episode's drink on the website, GatsbyFridays.com.
For show notes, or if you want to leave a comment or suggest show topics, get at us on our site.
Don't forget to rate us, give us 5 stars, and write a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps to get in front of more ears and build our audience. Or if you're a Spotify person, make sure you follow Gatsby Fridays.
Follow us on Instagram for exclusive content on our day in Chelsea, and follow our Insta stories throughout the week.
Stay with us on our next episode. We talk about heritage and belonging.
This is Gatsby Fridays.